Hey, this is Ben Coda. You're listening to Lowering the Tone.
Okay.
Hey, this is Ben Coda. You're listening to... Hey, this is Ben Coda. You're listening to Lowering the Tone with Meet Katie.
Right, episode 10. I did say I'll be picking up the pace. I'm aiming to get a show out every month until the end of the year. But please don't hold me to that. Thank you for all the great feedback from the last show, especially regarding my interview with Ben Coda. I don't think I've ever received so many emails from one episode. This time round, I have one of the nicest people in dance music. Skimp recording artist and Wartone label boss. It's the Sonny Wharton. But for the moment, let's get into the music. Give a lot of shouts out this episode. I apologise, but it is necessary. It's your donations that keep this show going. First and foremost, Daniel Williams. There's a package of records and CDs winging its way to you right now. Thank you for your very generous donation. It absolutely blew me away, to be honest. Dave Hartlin, my mate Daver from Boise. William Shea, David Taylor, Richard Goddard, Muriel Price, Daniel Gray, Kevin Lenvant, I think I pronounced that right, Robert Lerney, Anton Drama, Cyro DeCaro. Thank you guys, you're all on my Christmas list. If you want to contribute anything to the show, there's lots of ways you can do it. One of the ways, which all the people I've mentioned have done it, is you head off to my Bandcamp page. It's bandcamp.meetkatie. Any money you drop on a track will go directly to supporting this podcast. Don't feel you have to. Music up there is actually free to download. It's a personal choice. going to bang it out for about another half an hour. And I'm going to drop it down into the deeper selection.
You're listening to Meet Katie on Lowering the Tone.
Right, I've mentioned this guy a few times on the show. Gary Beck. He's just got such a good take on techno. Really good, high quality bumping grooves.
Ciao, sono Rivastar e stai ascoltando Lowering the Tone con Meet Katie.
Right, don't forget, at the back end of the show, I have Sonny Wharton, where we mentioned Dave Clark in the chat, so I thought I'd dig something out from Dave to play to you. This is his remix of I Am Clute.
listening to Meet Katie on Lowering the Tone.
Game 5.
Gotta say thank you to my friend Maris Moon from Chicago for giving me this track. I love it. Possibly the heaviest thing I've played on the show.
Game 5. Game 5.
Few birthday shouts I need to give. Tom Clyde, Tony Bradbury, and slightly belated Matt and Gemma Goddard. Happy birthday. Quickly, while I'm at it, a few more shouts. Catherine Allen and Nathan Lumsden, Keith Morley, Nick Turner and Thomas Tazimski. If you want a track listing to this show, you need to subscribe over at meetkatie.bandcamp and I will mail you the track listing for this and any retrospective shows.
You're listening to Meet Katie on Lowering the Tone.
Right, one more track before I drop it down into the deeper selection. This is Ben Coda's remix of mine and Dopamine's Believe in Me. It's out on Lot 49. If you want to pick it up, you can grab it on Beatport or alternatively the Lot 49 Bandcamp page.
Hola, soy Chevy Wang, estoy aquí con Mick Katie y estás escuchando su programa Lowering the Tone.
Before we drop into the deeper selection, there's a few shows I need to mention. You can catch me in Sheffield at Planet Zog on Halloween, the 31st of October. I'm going to be playing in the Dusk Till Dawn room, and that's at Night Kitchen. On 7th of November, I'm going to be in China. I'm playing in Juai, and that is Club 1520, I believe. I'm going to be playing with my friend Gordon Yu from Macau. Awesome DJ. I can't wait to catch up with him. And then on the 20th of November, I'm going to be playing the Hopper Party. That's the 3rd edition, and that's in Amsterdam at the Westerlade. I know I fucked that venue name up. With Calais Wursel, Dord Dahl, and Rare Species. Can't wait for that. All the details you can find on my Facebook page. Okay, I'm going to keep my mouth shut for a while.
This is Elite Force. You're listening to Meet Katie on Lowering the Tone.
You're listening to Meet Katie on Lowering the Tone.
Someone to count on in a world of change. Here I am, stuck where you stand. What you need is a love, a man to take over. Oh girl, straight.
So there you have it, a deep selection. Hope you enjoyed that. Right, it's about that time. Let's get into that interview.
Exclusive.
Right, I'd like to welcome Sonny Wharton to my house
Hello.
in a sunny suburbia.
Yeah, nice day for it. Nice day to be sat indoors.
Thank you for coming down, and thank you for coming to pick up my son with me.
Hey, no worries.
That's a bit unexpected. You ended up down to school.
Yeah, school day out. It was good.
But we're here now, and we're going to get started finally. And I am sorry for taking so long to get this together, because I've had loads of errands and crap to be doing when you arrive. Sorry.
Mate, it's all good. We've got a table full of food in front of us, so I'm a happy boy.
The first time my girlfriend has ever bought me Kit Kats.
We got 3.
Yeah, she must have looked at you and think, he needs a Kit Kat.
Yeah, I need feeding. That's what it is.
So, where should we start? Do you want to start on history, or should we just kind of launch into whatever?
Totally up to you, dude.
All right.
You're the boss.
Where were you at the weekend?
I went to Belfast the weekend, actually, for, like I said, a rare night out, because it's a bit like going to the office on the day off, but see Todd Terry play at Thompson's Garage, and it was wicked. It was like one of those nights out where, you know, there's no agenda. You just go in to enjoy that moment at that time, and start to finish, it was one of those.
He's pretty amazing, Todd Terry.
Yeah,
I know he's a hit maker, but
he is a hit maker, but
he's also a legend. You know,
he's a really good DJ as well. You know, you've got hit makers who are really not good DJs out there.
Yeah, Kelvin Harris.
but yeah, technically amazing, flawless. So,
yeah. What sort of stuff is he playing?
Well, I've seen him a couple of times this year, but this time it was a lot of his own tracks. You know, Can You Feel It and stuff like that. But then he's with the cue button jamming, check.
Oh, really?
Check it out, like over top of. It was kind of a set like that all the way through. So it's kind of all his classics, but not in a live way, but definitely it's only in that moment. You know,
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to sound the same next time. Which is
I
quite
would've
cool.
loved that,
It was, yeah. I think because it was 20 years of that venue as well. It was,
Right.
probably a bit of a trip down memory lane kind of set as well.
Oh, wicked.
But it was going off like it did when I was a clubber before.
Right.
This was
like
a
it
job.
hasn't dated.
Yeah, totally. So it was
Perfect. I heard a podcast the other day. Derek Carter playing, and it was rough as old boots.
Yeah.
The actual the mixing, because it was all vinyl.
Yeah.
But it was just fire. I remember I was just listening to it.
DJ as
I was
well.
just listening to it, thinking, really getting off on it, because it was just, you can tell he's mixing vinyl, because there was it wasn't perfect.
Well, that's the thing. I guess we got so used to with this digital era. You know, you go off slightly off beat. There's no excuse now.
No.
Everything's kind of grid mapped, whether you're syncing or not. You know, you're matching numbers to a degree. Vinyl, you're still always chasing it.
Yeah, it's a charm, isn't it?
Yeah,
now.
it is. I got to play it, which I never thought I'd ever be saying this, but for the Skimp party a few weeks ago, 20 years of Skimp was a vinyl-only night.
Oh, really?
Classics only, yeah. I only had 24 hours notice as well. So 24 hours notice of you playing, and you're playing after Norman Cook, and it's classics and vinyl only. And I haven't played records for 10 years.
How was that?
I didn't sleep for that entire 24 hours. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. The gig was amazing, but the lead-up was horrific, because you just, like, thrown on the spot there.
Yeah.
Panicking, thinking, right, where are all these records I used to play? Because I've moved house 5 times since, so I've got stacks of vinyl in varying degrees of organisation, and no pressure, but you're following the headliner, you know, at 20 years of his label.
Where was it?
It was a place called Dead Wax Social, which is a vinyl-only venue in London, and they've got walls of vinyl in there. It's kind of, I think it's like a coffee sort of bar in the daytime, and then they have parties there at night. So it's small, like 150 kind of capacity. It was wicked.
I bet it was wicked, yeah.
It was a one-off kind of, you know, I'm never going to get that sort of night again. I wouldn't imagine. So yeah, it was good.
Wicked, yeah.
Random
playing playing the vinyl again.
Yeah.
I'd done that probably about a month ago.
Did you enjoy it?
I found it amazing, but I was playing funk, soul, and rare groove, so a lot of mine was like 7 inches. So I was picking up the drum fills, trying to pick up the drum fill on time to roll into the next track rather than beat mixing. Only because it's old funk and rare groove. But what I noticed is because I was playing a lot of 7 inches, they were running out. The tracks were running out. They felt really quickly that they were running out because I wasn't looking at a time counter.
No, I noticed exactly the same thing as well. I guess that's something we take for granted a bit nowadays.
Well, you kind of glance at it and think, I've got this long left, I've got that long left. Yeah. And when you just look at that piece of vinyl, you can really misjudge
and you kind of miss that point where you know that's the point to kind of mix from. Once it's gone, it's gone. There's no loop button. Sorry, mate.
You're right there.
No, a bit of a frog in the throat. Yeah, there's no loop button.
That's it. Or the cue where you just.
Yeah.
I mix on the snare. I don't mix on the kick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Loca Dice does that.
Yeah. The reason being, when I learnt how to mix, I always thought mixing on the kick was a bit pointless because if you're mixing in after a drop, when it comes out. I was always slightly out. Yeah. Whereas with a snare, it was like boom, chat. So it felt like it gave me a little introduction of my timing, and snares a little bit more clear to hear.
It's definitely in a bad monitoring situation.
Yeah.
You can hear the kick on good monitors and bad monitors varies distinctly. Yeah. So that makes sense.
And especially on quite subby stuff, I find the kick a little bit harder to pick out. But now I'm so used to the tap and the click of it. Yeah. I can do it without even the headphones really on my ear, just sort of resting really. That's just a habit, whether I know technically it's wrong, but I find it easier.
What's right and wrong really?
Well, what I find difficult now with vinyl is that if I miss my cue, I have to spin it back and re-find the snare, whereas if I was on the kick, it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, because it's there.
Yeah. So, the pros and cons of vinyl.
That's interesting. I don't know if I could do it. My brain would automatically be trying to catch back up with a kick.
Well, with the snare is that, so when I cue up a snare, CD's great because I just cue it to the snare. It just takes 2 minutes. Well, not 2 minutes. 2 seconds.
It's taking you a while, eh?
I should be better at it by now. No, it takes me a couple of seconds and bang. And then once you got on the CD, all day long.
Still CD?
Yeah.
You're actually still on CDs, yeah?
Yeah, I still use CD. What do you play with?
SD card.
Oh, right, yeah. Sometimes. It's
don't have to worry about ejecting the wrong thing.
Yeah, I can't talk about that.
And that 30 seconds it seems to take for it to come out and go back in.
Yeah.
I've only done that once. On the drop, it just dropped. And
yep.
Yeah, I had to put my hands up and say sorry.
Yeah, I think it's happened to everyone. Vinyl was a lot worse because if you're in the middle of a mix...
I've never done it on a record, ever. That's the weird thing. I've never lifted the wrong needle.
You're really missing out.
I shifted to CD and then ejected the wrong CD. I remember playing
at Bedrock once and I was just queuing up a record. I just put it on. I was finding the spot.
Yep.
Just as I brought the fader... MC Spee, who was the MC of Terminal Head, walked past me and jogged my arm, and it went right across the whole record. It just literally went.
There's no escape there, is there?
Nope. No, I had to just stand there and go, oh, fuck. But then it's easy to put it back on a record where you can't put it back on a CD. Once you hit that cue button, you're back to the first bit of beats.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah.
Pros and cons again.
Exactly. I think with DJing is what works for you. So you're playing off SD.
Well, yeah. I mean, the transition was quite easy. I thought it scared me, and I took my CDs with me. The first gig, that is this going to work? This newfangled thing, I don't know. But I found the transition quite easy because I had this sort of foldering system that I used for how I put stuff on CDs anyway, that I was used to. So I just transferred that digitally. So I still go into essentially what would be a CD, but it was a folder with those 10 tracks on. And that's kind of how it worked right for me.
I like to select out of a wallet. Yeah. Old habits die hard, with a vinyl thing, actually flicking through.
That's what I do miss. And, when you're looking for one track specifically, you might come across another one on the way, and you're like, I'll have that later. And that doesn't work with MP3s.
No.
Because it's just a file name that you're ignoring because you're looking for another file name, because you're literally scrolling through files.
That's it, yeah.
But
that's why. That's the reason why.
But the flip of it, because I never pre-plan a set. I'll put things in a folder like I'm probably going to play out of these 30, 40 tracks, but I'll never sort of, I'm starting here, finishing there, and this is the track in order. I always do it on the fly. But the good thing I find with Record Box or whatever that you can use now is you're on that plane going to that gig. You can really try and test everything out, start to stop. You can mix two. Well, now with the new Record Box, you can mix 4, but you can mix 2 tracks there and then, see how they sound, see how they go, whilst you're kind of almost putting together essentially a playlist. Like I said, it's a fairly loose playlist for me, because I might jump from track 1 to track 10, without following a specific order. But it's great to kind of get your head in that mindset before the gig, rather than panicking with a CD wallet. Thinking, I know I want to play a track, but I can't remember whereabouts it is. For me, anyway, it works.
Yeah, kind of. I have little runs, so I kind of link up runs. I have like couple of tracks, 2 or 3 tracks. I
tried and tested ones that you know
that really work, and then I kind of go, and then I sort of. Sort of link them up to where I want to go. So I know that something's a bit tougher or a bit harder, or it's going to be a little bit more accessible and not. I'm going to say light-hearted. It's not a comedy show,
comedy records,
but something a little bit not so strenuous on the dance floor. Something that's a little bit more groove based.
Not as intense.
Yeah, and it's kind of linking it up to make a set out of, rather than having. It's difficult. I don't know anyone who actually has a set piece.
I know a lot of people.
Oh, really?
They do, yeah. And they will play that to the death, even if it's not working. That's their set. I've seen that happen.
Wow,
so many times. And
how do they work out? I mean,
I don't know.
Does it work sometimes?
No. It's like occasionally it does, but I've seen it not work more times than it work.
Wow.
And that's all they're going to play. And they won't deviate from that plan, no matter what.
It's quite interesting.
But often they're producers more than DJs.
Right. Have you ever turned up at a club and you're just not carrying anything that's suitable, or like a misbooking, or just being in the wrong place, and
quite a few times. Yeah. But I always try and adapt as best I can. Obviously, you're limited to what you got, and within the music you got with you, and mentally within how far you'll stretch.
Yeah.
But I always try and give it the best of what I've got anyway.
Right.
Even if it is the wrong scenario, or you're in a club that you really shouldn't have been booked at. But I got pulled off the decks after 10 minutes in Russia.
Really? What country? What country? What city, sorry?
It was in Moscow, actually. I can't remember the name of the club. And I found out afterwards it wasn't actually anything to do with what I played. They literally just needed me to turn up to get the sponsorship money and then pull me off. And put back on the resident who was playing like remixes of California Dreaming and stuff like that. So it was nothing to do with what I did or didn't play.
Oh, you won't be the first or last. I got tugged off. Not literally.
But it's soul destroying, isn't it?
But I got pulled off the decks. Tugged off.
Do not do that again.
Wrong word. I got pulled off the decks in Beijing.
Right.
And it was another thing. But I kind of, I walked in the club and, I don't know if anyone's aware of the Chinese clubs, but
I've been there a lot.
It's
drinking culture around that table.
I mean, the dance floor took about 100 people, and the rest of it, and
that's quite a big one.
But the venue itself took about 1,000 people. So it's very much a table service.
It's all about tables and playing dice.
Well, I arrived and they were playing like Jamiroquai, not a remix or anything like that, and they're playing like Kylie Minogue, slow, and I was just like, this is
it's good Chemical Brothers remix of that track. It's on a yellow vinyl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you should check it out.
Do you know what? I actually think it's a great track, that is, as well.
Yeah, it is. Their remix is good.
Really? I'll look after that. Thanks for the tip.
No worries. I'll send, I've got a digital copy of it.
Well, he wasn't playing that version.
Yeah, but he should have been.
He was playing the original, and although I enjoyed it, I was thinking, what the fuck am I going to play?
Yeah.
I think I lasted like 4 tracks.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't wish my music in my CD wallet to be appropriate, but it just wasn't. There was just nothing in there. Like, I mean, it was like Britney Spears,
Yeah.
you know, like there was no chance.
There was no
I do not have any pop music,
Yeah.
you know.
I've had probably the exact, like, as far away from that scenario as you can get. I got told off by a Chinese promoter for having the whole club dancing instead of drinking. So literally, they'd gone from not being interested to what was being playing and obviously spending a lot on the bottles at the tables to not caring about the bottles or the tables. They were dancing on the tables. It was an amazing gig, but I got told off and told I'd never play there again by the promoter because I'd technically done my job and made them dance instead of drink. So that's China for you.
Yeah,
One extreme to
I
another.
don't think there's any kind of rhyme or reason out
But
there.
yeah, it's a good region to play. I played there back in August.
Ketamine's really taken off in China.
Yeah.
You seen this? They take a load of ketamine and go to karaoke clubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasted. It's just like
I'd love to hear them singing on that though.
fantastic. Oh my god! You know,
Slow-mo karaoke.
I'd really like to see this. You know, that's only in China.
Yeah.
Basically, only in China. It's like, hey, let's do K and go to karaoke.
KK. It's not
Yeah,
much, is it?
it's great in theory.
Yeah.
Reality is like, yeah. So anyway, right.
I was there in August actually.
Was
just
you?
a few weeks ago. Yeah, I played in Shanghai.
Oh, cool.
It was an outdoor sort of festival, and it was called, I think it's kind of their version of, or a smaller version of Tomorrowland. You know, it had that sort of decor to it. I was playing on stage. It was sort of built to look like a castle. It was pretty
Was it
good,
good?
actually. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Hot.
Yeah.
I think it was about 40 degrees, and obviously it's outdoor stage. I had 2 AC units and a fan, and I was still soaked when I come off. So, and it was windy as well, and it was on a baseball stadium, so I just had, it's like getting sandblasted in a sauna for 2 hours. Pretty much. But it was a good gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know masses go out in China.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I posted, I was playing my remix I'd done for you.
Yeah, Monsters.
That was in a China gig. You know, just an immense crowd with glow sticks.
It's intense remix that though, so it goes off.
Yeah. You know, what I didn't show is that I had an MC.
Yeah.
And he was Chinese and he was wearing a gold suit.
Gold suit?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he had peroxide blonde hair. A Chinese dude.
Yeah. What was he shouting? Do you know?
I don't know, something
Was he-
Chinese. The crowd were loving it.
He might have been laughing at you. You don't know.
Like, look at this idiot. Look at this.
What is he playing now? Make some noise.
Bald idiot.
I've found that a lot in Asia as well. MCs that, you know, kind of hype the crowd that normally you wouldn't have them.
Do you have any
in that
thoughts
set.
on MCs?
I'm personally not a big, you know, all due respect to them, but for myself, I'd rather not have an MC for my sets. And as a punter, I don't necessarily want to be told to put my hands in the air. So, you know, but it works in some scenarios. I think it works for drum and bass, works for some genres, but I don't think there's a place.
Garage, it kind of works. Grime, it works. You know.
Yeah.
Elite Force has got a really good take on MCs.
Right.
He just turns them down.
I've done that.
He
before.
doesn't even ask him. He just pushes the fader down.
When you get like a live percussionist or a saxophone player, I've been told off like by their managers before, and I'm like, what are you doing?
A sax player.
I've had this is a random. I've had it a few times. I guess because I play a lot of house sets, but I've had it a few times. I've had a sax player and a percussionist, and it's one gig in London. I can't remember where the club was. I think it was Brixton somewhere. I had both of those, and they were both placed quite away from the booth, and they were obviously then playing off the main PA system, so they had a slight delay to what they're playing. You know what they're hearing. So they're playing out of time, and that's coming through my monitors whilst I'm trying to mix. So I just turned them off. So they're on these platforms playing, but it's not coming out. So I've got a proper telling off for turning them off. And I was like, look, just hour and a half, they're not playing. Sorry.
That's fair enough, though. You know, at the end of the day, if you get booked, you know.
Well, yeah, they sounded shit.
I guess, if you want a percussionist, you would have brought one.
Exactly, yeah. So they're normally quite wired and off on their own little trip as well. And any breakdowns, they've still got to keep going 100 miles an hour through it. And you're like, mate, just let the record breathe a minute. There's not percussion over this for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but then you do occasionally get good ones. So I'm not dissing them.
Yeah, I've been in Holland, and there was a girl that was emceeing, but she started to sing when I was on, and she had a cracking voice, an amazing voice, and she just made everything I was playing sound great, and have so much more soul than what
I say when it
did.
works, it really works, but sometimes I think maybe
it is a rare occasion.
It's not well thought out sometimes. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So I'm
sorry.
Now we dived into moaning about percussionists and saxophonists.
Big up all the session musicians.
And a moan about China.
Yeah. What else?
Should we get on to? I'd like to get onto the label stuff because this is quite interesting. So, when we were speaking earlier off air, you said that you have some plans.
Yeah, just the label's been running just over 5 years now, and I kind of. It's a learning curve, really. I don't necessarily pretend to know how to run a label when I started it, and I've started it in a digital era, so sadly there's never been any physical product really. So it's been a learning curve, and I kind of feel like I really found my feet with it finally, learnt what does and doesn't really work, in the current marketplace. I know it's all changing again with streaming, but I kind of feel, I don't know, like I've got a new lease of life with it really. I'm excited about where it's going. Kind of this last 6 months since the 5 years album came out, I rebranded it and kind of refocused it slightly. And all the artists we've got on board now are really proactive and all work really well together. Everyone's actually, it's like a little family unit, genuinely. I know it's quite a cliche thing for a label to say, but it's literally like that, and everyone's helping each other out.
So who are the main? Or not main. What's your roster?
I mean, there's quite a few artists, but the regulars, there's people like they're all sort of up and coming names, so there's no big hitters, but they've all got the talent to do that. New single we got at the moment is from a guy called Dirty Secrets, who's done quite a few things. He's been on Subliminal, Murillo's label, Stealth, Roger Sanchez, and Ministry and people like that. But the sort of singles he's given me this year, just the really good records, and they're quite timeless records. So I just feel like, when you kind of get a good vibe about a producer and the tracks they're doing and the direction they're going with it, I feel like next year, potentially could be a really good year for him. And the single we got at the moment is a cover. Do you remember Gold Tricks Tripping?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. It's with Jill Scott originally, but based on that, he's done a version of that's doing really well. It's been out a week and it's gone top 10 track source already.
I loved it. I've got to say the Jill Scott version.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I loved the album it was on.
Yeah.
So when it was covered originally, I obviously I knew the lyrics. So I was like, I love this song.
Yeah.
The familiarity. That's a good one though.
It's no one's really done it since. I mean, obviously.
Do you know it was Matrix?
Yeah, it was Matrix. Yeah.
That done it, but he didn't do a drum and bass version. It was a house version, wasn't it?
Well, I've got about 3 different vinyls of that. I've got the original white label, which was the drum and bass. It was Matrix. I can't remember. I think it was actually with the Jill Scott sample at the time before Andrea Brown revocaled it.
Yes, it was.
Then I got the release with the Andrea Brown vocal on, and then there were a few mixes of that, like different gear mix, and I think there was another one. But yeah, I still remember that.
We
original
bootlegged it.
White label. You guys bootlegged
I done
a lot of good records.
I done a beat bootleg of that.
Yeah.
Called Tripping Out.
I bet it did well.
Yeah, it did.
But again, sign of a good vocal, right? So,
yeah. So sorry, carry on.
No,
Just interrupt you.
So he's someone I'm really pleased that we're working closely with. There's a few guys, man. I mean, there's probably too many to list, but I do feel like we're in a good place, and moving into next year, I've got someone coming on full time within the office to kind of run things properly. And we're, as mad as it sounds, we're actually starting the sort of strategy for 2016 now. So everything I'm doing now is working kind of almost towards not a relaunch anyway, but January 2016 to start rolling out essentially a new game plan with it, which is exciting. Whether it works or not, so I don't know.
Are you going to be releasing Sonny Wharton stuff?
Yeah, originally I started the label with view to putting my own stuff out on it,
right?
And view to, because I was getting sent a lot of good stuff off other artists, Ant Brooks, Paul Thomas. A lot of friends didn't have homes for their music, so I'd always wanted to do a label. So I was like, well, I want somewhere for my music, and they want somewhere to put music out, so let's do this. And it kind of sort of grew from there, really.
Because obviously, since I've known you, you've been releasing on Skint.
Yeah, well,
so there was a kind of
when I signed with Skint, I kind of wanted to put all my focus on that because that's like a dream signing with Skint. So I think there were a couple of singles I put on Wharton in the interim, but the focus for me was about Skint because that's where I wanted to be as an artist. I've got a new single coming on my label at the end of October, and the last single I've just put out was on Skint. Right. So back in the summer, back in July. So they're still my two homes really for my singles at the moment. But yeah, obviously I'm going to be putting strong singles on my own label because I believe in the label and I believe in my singles, and I've got full creative control over how I approach that, the time in the lead up, and how the sort of campaign rolls out after that. So, and then I own it 100% as well. So I've got rights to re-license it. Yeah, do what I want with it without it,
which is important. It's like,
very important,
especially in this day and age, because artists need to own all of their rights.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think it's frustrating. There's nothing worse than spending a lot of time on, what you ultimately believe in as a record. Otherwise, you wouldn't put it out, And then I've done it in the past, you give it to a label, they love it, blah, blah, blah. Then they don't even tell you it's out or when it's coming out. Yeah. And you're like, I've got a new single out. You don't even told me. There was no promo plan. There's no exposure. No one knows about it. And it's wasted. And I've signed that track away and I'll never see it again.
And it's done.
And then you never get paid anyway.
And so like within a week, it's over.
So I wanted, I don't kind of, that's lessons you learn as you sort of, I guess, go along in a game. But I like retaining more control over my product now. Well, makes sense.
Yeah, I know. It makes complete sense. Yeah. Especially when it comes to licensing, you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, it's easy for... You say that with like tracks that you release is that they can pick up licenses 5, 10, 20 years later. You see it all the time. It's just that you need that music to be worked. The last thing you want to do is give a label a piece of music. It kind of almost comes out, it doesn't do well, it just gets shelved. It's like you just become part of stock. Yeah, exactly. That they then sell in bulk. Yeah, and never account you for anyway. So I think, I think with labels and accounting, because obviously I run a label as well. I think one of the problems everyone's run into is that there's so little money involved in the digital world. Is that generating statements to tell an artist that they haven't made any money costs more money than what they've already lost. Yeah, it does. But and, I'm not. I won't try and go down this road too much because it's such a negative road. Or it costs you more in a bank transfer to pay them £5.20 than it does. Especially most of our artists are from different countries. Yeah, so that's your 15, 20 all quid. European. It's or Australian. It's like for international bank transfer. Fucking nightmare. This is why stuff like Bandcamp works really well. There's a new facility on Bandcamp, and I'm not endorsed, and I'm just saying this because it's a great. A lot of artists love Bandcamp. I've not explored it massively myself yet. Would have a new facility, which is fantastic. So if you're running a label, you can allocate an artist's share of their piece of music directly to their PayPal. So the moment you get paid, it goes straight into their account, their share. And it's all in black and white, what was sold on your stats. Yeah. For a label's point of view is that this really could be the future of selling music. Yeah. The problem is that when you put music on Beatport, and this is where it gets all... I'm saying Beatport, it's like we just get accounted to from third party for all the other sites. Yeah. And there's not really the breakdown as to what and where and how. I see, there is for me. So it's down to your distributor. Yeah, but I mean, that's a drop in the Label Works. Do you know what? I've been looking at Label Works. I use them for promo. Honestly, man, hands down. I can't. I'm not. Again, like you're saying, Bandcamp. I'm not here to endorse them anyway. But genuinely, they are awesome. Well, I'd use them for promo, and I would recommend them. The management system they got in place for the label, it's all kind of
you can use as much as you want. You know, it's almost like bolt-ons essentially. So if you want to use their accounting system, I think, and it's all relative to how much money you're earning as a label as well. So it's like a percentage of your, you know, quarterly statement they take out for the credit to use that accounting system. So it's pretty fair. If you're a big label, it can cost you more. If you're a small label, it can cost you less.
Yeah.
But the breakdown of data and stuff in that is amazing, because that gets sent with the statement to the artist. So you haven't got to go adding up spreadsheets yourself or anything. Right. It's all automatically generated and sent to them. You literally just assign it to the artist, click send. Okay. And it's a no-brainer. Like, it makes accounting so easy.
Right.
They've got loads of little tools like that in place, but yeah.
That's great.
It makes, I guess that's an advantage of having a digital label in a digital world, you know, whereas physical sales are different because you're dealing with different entities. But yeah, you know, that's one great thing about the technology that we've got available now is there's the tools that are available with it.
Well, there you go. What's it? Labelworks.com.
Labelworks.com.
So
label-works.com, I think.
Yeah, labelworks.com. Yeah, because we use them for the promo, but I have looked at them. I know that they're doing a lot of other stuff, and they are highly endorsed as it goes by other companies.
Well, they've got a Richie Horton's label, Martinus. They've got loads of people, Toolroom using them. Loads of labels using them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So some of the stuff they've got coming is really good as well. They've got tools. I don't know if you've seen, again, for label, it's great. Like a demo system, which kind of works like their promo system. Again, you kind of pay for that as a bolt-on to your package, but where you can set up a demo page, people use that to submit a demo, so you don't have to worry about the SoundCloud issues or any of the other issues. Right, it's all within your management system. And again, all the contact details are there, all the files are already there, everything's all within the system. So, you know, one upload's done. Someone submits a demo to you, you deal with it how you want. But that's another thing they've got, as well as the promo system. They've got things like SoundCloud and YouTube things. So you've got a track out, you've only uploaded it once to send to the stores, that WAV, you know, the master file. So the file's already within the system. So you then tell it, right, I want to put a 3-minute preview. You create a 3-minute preview of SoundCloud, it sends it to SoundCloud. I want to generate a 5-minute YouTube video of it with it. You choose where the fades are, you choose what part you're using, you choose the artwork, sends it to YouTube for you. It's all within that one system. So it saves you probably 4 days a week of manually doing it every other way. And it's all
that would save me a huge amount of time.
After this, I'll
speak
to him.
I was going to say, right, let's wrap this up. I've got some work to do. Yeah. No, that's awesome. We won't dwell on that too much because I had a little bit more of a negative slant because the way that we get paid by Beatport, did you know that they automatically take 10% for the MCPS? So
but they don't pay that back out, do they? Or
yes,
is that changed?
They do. They have to pay it. Like the deal that was done meant that they didn't have to pay historic. They had to start paying from a date.
Right.
So
that's coming this year though, yeah?
No, it's been going on for a few years. Right. So when you get accounted to,
is that after the 50% that they've already taken?
And also they have estimated sales, and it's never exactly you never. The estimation is always what you get paid is always lower. Always lower than what the account looks like. So you have some artists who are like, well, I want to see the Beatport sales, and you show them, and then they go, yeah, but I didn't receive that. It's like, well, that's because that's not what we received. Yeah. We can only pay you what we received. Do you know what I mean? Your share of what we received. So you end up in this where it gets really, really awkward, and then we start like. I always find it with newer artists rather than established artists. Ones that have been around.
False expectations, though.
Yeah.
You know, I've had that. I've been there. You know, you get a track at number 1 on Track It Down. You don't realise it's only taking, no disrespect to it, it's only taking 6 sales or something to get there.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you're like, where's my 200, 300 quid? You're like, mate, it hasn't sold anything.
It's not like that. Yeah.
So it's probably naivety, and I've been there. You know, I've not quite realised.
It's an awkward conversation because you kind of don't want to take any wind out of anyone's sails by saying, look, that didn't take much to get there.
Yeah.
I know. And I guess the idea is to exploit that position yourself rather than thinking that the label need to make their money out of sales. But if you're a DJ producer, once you start getting chart positions, it's down to you to exploit what you've achieved from
totally.
that. Because a top 10 track should equate to maybe at least a show. Do you know what I mean? So if you're charging, I don't know, £500 to £1,000 or whatever, then all of a sudden that track was worth doing.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, essentially, as sad as it is, you make tracks. It's the exact opposite of what the model was, but you make tracks to do gigs now.
Yeah.
You used to do gigs to sell the album, or that was the old sort of music.
Yeah, the template. Yeah.
But now you make an album to do a tour.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've got to utilise that chart position, and that's where the numbers game sadly takes over, I think.
I know. So it's
especially when it's always been manipulated from the dawn of time with the music industry, but it's more. It's a bigger business now in our scene, I think, for the manipulation. So, and that's kind of owned and dominated by about 3 or 4 big labels.
It is interesting. If you don't mind, I don't mind happy just kind of shooting the breeze over this stuff, because I noticed on the last podcast when I was chatting to Ben Coda, I got a lot of feedback when we were talking about manipulation of like social media and kind of what it meant and what the point of it was. I got to be honest, I was pretty drunk while we were discussing it. And
don't worry.
I haven't listened back to all of it because I'm a little bit ashamed.
No, I listened to it, man. It's all good.
But there's, like you say, there's a few people dominating the music, the dance music scene. Yeah. I use an example. Is one of them being spinning.
Yeah.
Now, they need to kind of maintain that level of success regardless. Maybe they do have a machine that means that anyone can put out music through that machine and hit high chart positions. Maybe they do. I would find it hard to believe how accurate that machine is working, that they're always top 10.
I think the infrastructure they've got in place now, they are in that position to do it. No.
Really?
No, yeah.
Obviously the names come through and smash it. Yeah, obviously they have a big fan base, and Spinning fan base must be insane. I think,
I don't know what the stats are, but their YouTube channel recently it hit like a record number of subscribers, like ridiculous amount for a dance music label, like stupidly ridiculous high. I just can't remember what the figures were.
Because it's not pop music. I know some of it's poppy, but it's not. It's not like chart music, really. I know some of it kind of touches on it, but you don't hear Spinning records on daytime Radio 1.
No, but some of those tracks are then relicensed, and they are on daytime Radio 1.
Really?
And as far as I'm aware, they've got an interest in the likes of Martin Garrix, who's managed by Justin Bieber's manager.
Okay.
Which is, they took a tried and tested model with.
It is a model, isn't it?
With that, young sort of fan base, Justin Bieber, pop. Right, if we have a dance music version of that, that's going to work too. We use the same, obviously slightly tailored differently, the same infrastructure, the same logistics, the same template almost, to put that in play, and it's going to work, and it has. That's off to them.
It's definitely
as a business model, it clearly works.
Yeah, it's kind of like at one point Toolroom the same. They were.
Toolroom,
but they got a lot of diversity on that label, whereas Spin has a kind of a sound, that. Yeah,
I think Toolroom's. I rate that label a lot, especially lately. The music they've got since they've
got some great music
with Toolroom tracks. The direction Matt Smallwood's taken with that is awesome.
Yeah,
it's just good techno kind of that sort of sound. And then I think that's allowed them to sort of free up the main side of the label for, they've gone very housey with the main sort of, Toolroom itself, and the tracks has gone more sort of techie, which is how it always used to be when it first started.
Yeah.
But I think when EDM came along, a lot of labels probably had to find their feet a little bit during, a couple of years and sort of work out the direction where everything was going. A lot of artists had to as well.
Well, it really shook things up, didn't it?
Yeah. definitely. That became that dominant, powerful player musically that took over everything. I'm saying EDM in a loose word, that what we're kind of calling.
Well, kind
that
of
sort of sound,
where electro house morphed into.
But it's ironically morphing back into electro house, just no one's admitting it.
And, it's the progressive house as well.
Well,
I mean, I listen to that and, from what sounds to me, that's EDM.
Totally.
Saying that, a lot of bass house is starting to drift that way as well.
It's because they're using that sort of bass line. Deep house is kind of becoming electro in 2008, 2009 kind of era, but it's deep house at the moment. I'm saying that with inverted commas. It doesn't work over a radio. But it's just renamed. But it just seems strange that it's kind of evolved back into something it already was, rather than evolving in a different way. If evolving is the right word, I don't know.
I'm kind of. It's interesting to watch. It's interesting to watch the artists that
jump ship.
Yeah, but some do it well, and some artists need to maintain a level of success, and to follow the crowd means to maintain. And there's only a real handful of artists that have done so well in the genre, that are at the pinnacle of the genre, that they can continue going down that road like comfortably. Like your Richie Hortons. I use he's a great example because he epitomises techno and always has.
But his sound has evolved with the way techno's evolved. And it's.
Or do you think he's evolved and techno's
quite possibly
moved with
quite
him
possibly,
as well?
It's slowed down. It's changed a lot from 10, 15 years ago. But it's still got that core identity. It's just
It's like Sven Vath. I heard him play that the Balkan thing. I can't remember. It'll come back to me. And I mean,
what was it, like a Cis record or something like that?
Salmon.
Yeah. Salmon Heater.
Which
ministry license, and it went top 10.
Right. I heard him play that track in the middle of a techno set.
Yeah.
It wasn't banging techno, but I heard him play that track, and the first time I'd ever heard it.
Yeah.
And he dropped it. The place went insane.
Yeah.
Because it was so unique and so different. And to me, that was, like I said, it's the first time I'd ever heard it.
Yeah.
Subsequently, yes, it went into our national charts and became a huge hit. First time I heard that in that environment, in that context, I was standing there thinking, like, man, and he was leading the pack.
Yeah. But you see that though. There's always there's that one track that changes the game every time, and it always starts in something where you least expect it.
Yeah.
And that's I guess where you see, again, like we touched on before, people with some sort of either random vision or forward thinking, and they're like, I'm going to try this. It's nothing like anything else around. It's not. I'm not making it to be part of what's now. Yeah. I just think it's going to work, and then it works. Yeah. And then everyone goes, oh, we're going to make something like that. And then you get 20, 30, 40, 100 different versions of the same thing.
Or genre, like kind of spawned from a track.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Laurent Garnier is another one that takes a lot of risks in his set.
He does. He's a great DJ.
Awesome DJ.
Really, I've never seen a bad set from him ever.
I love the diversity. I just love the kind of...
But he's got the balls to do it.
And the skills.
Yeah.
Skills to deliver it, you know. I was kind of inspired by his sets. Because he locks it down, plays some slamming stuff, but then he drifts off into some areas that like no other DJs does, you know. Makes it work, and it sort of keeps everyone happy, you know. I'm sure there's people out there who would disagree, but me personally, you know,
surely there's no one out there who could disagree with what going on your set.
People disagree with everything. There's, you know, you've ever set your life and someone is saying that was
you're never ever going to please 100% of the room, no matter where.
Yeah, and you know, but I've always left his sets quite inspired.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
especially as a DJ.
Yeah, there's a few DJs that do that for me. There's a few DJs that I like what they do because of simply their sound. Most of the people I'm talking about are actually techno. My favourite DJs are actually techno based. Yeah, like Dave Clark.
Yeah,
like I watch him play, and I kind of don't want anything else. I just want him to be jacking the shit out of it, and it just works, you know.
Tried and tested.
But I wouldn't go to watch Dave Clark if I wanted a journey through music, you know. I know that he's just going to pin me to.
But at least though, you know what you're getting with that.
Yeah,
and that's why it works. So you know,
and it works for him because he's been around for however many years, and he's still playing peak time sets at a lot of the big festivals. You know, he's filling clubs. You know, clearly he's doing all.
But look at someone like Carl Cox, who has diversified and has evolved. He's always had his take on it, but he's still at the top of his game all these years on. I don't think anyone can challenge that as a DJ.
Yeah, definitely. We've become DJ historians.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No, mate, I love talking about stuff I like.
Well, I mean,
do you know what I mean?
For me, that's what I got into it through watching DJs. You know, I wanted to be a DJ. I'm not a producer first and foremost. I'm a
you're a DJ first.
And so for me, that's my first love out of it. So that's why I get a buzz off seeing good DJs, because you, like you're saying, you get inspired by it.
And you can appreciate what they're actually doing. Yeah,
totally. You see someone who looks bored out of the head in the booth, you're like...
looking at a computer.
Yeah, well, you're thinking, you know, fair enough, they might be happy, the crowd might be happy with it, I don't know. But personally, for me, I want some excitement.
How long you been DJing?
You have to edit that, sorry mate. Professionally for 12 years, but I got decks, I think it was about 14, 15. Ironically, actually, I got, I think it was from Argos, it was about 30 or 40 quid, a Christmas present when I was 11, and it was a tape deck with some faders on and some sound effects, and everyone else was getting like bikes or Sega Mega Drive or something, and I was getting this thing called a sound mixer, and I was like, what's that? I didn't really know what it was, but I could link up another tape deck with it because it had a couple of input channels on it and a microphone. And that was kind of my first take on DJing, but I didn't know what DJ was at that point. I guess, wanted to play one track into another. But I'd never seen a DJ, didn't even know what the word was at that point. But thinking back about it now, that was technically probably my first decks.
Wow, just so
randomly.
Just so people listening know, how old are you?
I am 37 years old.
Right.
So I'm getting on.
Yeah. You're not as old as me.
We're giving our age away by the fact we're talking about cassette tapes, I think.
Yeah, 12 years DJing is, you know, I'm sure that from when you started to where you are now, that you've seen a lot of changes.
12 years doing it as a full-time job, really. So, yeah, since I kind of got my first break, you know, kind of outside of playing locally in sort of small gigs and stuff, yeah.
Getting paid.
Well, you know what it's like, getting paid, kind of. It swings around about.
Getting a few quid. Yeah, I guess that. You know, when you're getting paid, that's, you know, it's a profession.
Yeah.
Up to that point, I guess it's a hobby.
Yeah, but I did deliberately kind of make a point of this is going to be my job. You know, I got a lucky break that summer in Ibiza. I don't know if you want to talk about that yet.
Let's talk about, I'll tell you what, let's talk about, we spoke off air only because I heard a story of a friend of mine. She said, I've got this story and it's about Sonny Wharton. And so she proceeded to tell me the story and I was like, that's a really nice, heartwarming story. So I'll let you explain it from the beginning.
Well, it's almost a little bit cliche, but I left my job at the time. I was working for a sound and lighting company, installing sound systems and that in clubs locally. And I was lucky enough that my boss at the time said, you can go and do this. I wanted to go to Ibiza for the season just to see if I could get a gig in a bar or something. You know, I didn't really know what. I didn't know how to get a gig or what to do. You know, I just enjoyed playing at parties and little clubs locally. And I kind of thought, well, I want to start playing, you know, further afield. So obviously everyone goes to Ibiza and that's where the scene kind of, the epicenter for house music really is for, you know, for my sort of scene. So I wanted to go and throw myself in the thick of it and see what happened. Committed to going out for the summer. Just before that, managed to land a gig. I think it was in Nottingham. I can't remember where the actual club was, for a brand I won't mention, who aren't around anymore. But yeah, they promised me a gig. And for me at the time, that was like, wow, this is, you know, possibly might lead to something. It's a good gig. I was like, well, I'm going out to Ibiza, so it's going to cost me, you know, I'm going to have to buy a flight back from Ibiza to come and do it. And then, is that all right? Are you okay to sort that out? Yeah, we'll pay the flight, no problem. Brilliant, I've got this great gig, blah, blah, blah. Arranged for all my friends to come. So, there's 20, 30 mates all come into this all-day event. We got there, waited around all day, got messed around. Most of them had to, all pay to get in. I had to beg and plead to actually get to play. Got to play for about half an hour, just kind of to my mates. Got really messed around by the promoter. Told I'm not getting any money. And then, depressingly, I'm like, big anticlimax, I've been promised this, didn't work out. So I'm sitting, anyway, cut that story short, I'm sitting in the airport to catch my flight back to Ibiza for the rest of the summer. I was only 2 weeks in to getting there. And I bought DJ Mag in Smiths at the airport, as you do, reading it, and there's a competition. So just on the off chance that I was sat at the airport to buy that, if I was still in Ibiza, I wouldn't have, and I might not be having this conversation. But there was a competition in there to submit a mix for Renaissance, and the prize was to play Amnesia for their opening party of Renaissance in Ibiza that summer.
It's a nice prize. Called
up my dad's. I'd done a load of mix CDs to take with me to Ibiza. I left some at home. Can you put this in the post? I've just got to jump on this flight back to Ibiza. Genuinely thought nothing of it. 2 or 3 days later, this was back on the days of pay and go cell phones like big bricks. I almost had no credit, and I had this unknown number calling. And I very nearly didn't answer it because I thought, I haven't got much credit, I don't know who it is. But I did, I pressed answer, and it was Renaissance, and I'd won the competition, and could I play next week? And that gave me my springboard, randomly putting yourself in that place at that time, and the fact I was in Ibiza already, I think, helped lead on to the fact that I play. It was amazing. I played 3.5 hours on Amnesia Terrace with all the DJ Mag crew because the competition's gone through them, and genuinely, hands down, one of, still for me, I guess because it means so much, one of the best sets I've ever done. And again, this was back on vinyl, so I just sort of started experimenting with CDs back in the old CDJ 500 days, with the jog wheels but so I was in an element because I had a DJ booth with 2 CDJs, 3 decks, so I was really getting to kind of explore, I guess, throwing yourself into the deep end.
What you can do as a DJ
in
front of a big crowd.
In the best kind of scenario possible. So, so with that kind of inspired me then to following that summer to kind of give it all or nothing. I was like, right, well, if I'm going to do this as a job, not that I knew how to do it or turn it into, it's a business essentially, how to do that, I need to give it every moment I've got. So I can't have a day job, I've got to do this. And I wasn't in a financial situation to be able to do that. I'm not from a rich family or anything. I just felt that I've got to give it everything I've got. So that's where I drew the line under, working for a company full time to I'm going to do this full time. And hopefully I haven't really looked back.
See, it's kind of an inspirational story, I guess. Because
maybe, yeah.
If you don't try, you're never going to know. That's
totally.
It's better to kind of try
worst
and
case
fail
scenario. I wanted to go out to Ibiza and see what happened. Worst case scenario, I'll come back and get a job again. But at least I know that it wasn't meant to be, or it wasn't going to work out. And it might just be that, it might not happen that time, but try the next one.
So that set the ball in motion.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. Awesome. I love that story.
Like I said, it does sound like a sort of a bit of a cliche Kevin and Perry
it's a fairy
large
tale,
kind of thing.
Isn't it? Because look, it's a lot of people out there would love to tell that story and it be them.
I do feel quite lucky to be able to say that is actually my story.
Yeah, fantastic. I know we've spoke a little bit about when you got into producing, but
diversified off the question.
Just for the sort of tech heads, what do you use to a sequencer, and you got any Reach 4 plugins? We won't dwell too much on this. Some people are interested, and some people kind of switch off a little bit and you talk tech stuff.
I've got quite a simple setup. I'm still running Logic 9. I do get a lot of people asking me why I haven't switched to Logic X, or if you can hear any crunching, that's because you're eating a Kit Kat.
Kit Kat in.
So I'm still running Logic 9, and I'm using, to be honest, I use a lot of their native plugins. There's a few go-to things that, like the Synopsys Creative Filter, kind of generally use it on pretty much every channel. that's sort of my go-to filter for anything. But yeah, the majority of stuff's all kind of Logic based, and I've got a little bit of outboard gear, Nord Lead 2, Mica Korg, MC303 kind of, I guess, your obvious sort of little toys, but I don't use them a huge amount. I've pinched a lot of sounds off them, but then I use those internally within Logic. So yeah, it's a fairly simple setup. But I guess it's because I'm not musically trained and I'm fairly self-taught with it all, that I've kind of just learnt to use what I've got and make something out of that. Whether that's the right or the wrong way of doing it, I don't know.
Well, it's clearly working for you. So,
well, yeah, I guess so. With, you know, like if I'm doing a remix, I can't. I'd love to be able to, but I couldn't go, right, that's in E major or, you know, F sharp. I put the original through mixed in key. It tells me what key it's in, and then through the art of Google, obviously I've kind of, having done it a million times now, know pretty much what keys are in,
right?
You know, what notes are in what key and stuff. But yeah, by kind of using those tools, that then tells, you know, allows me to know, right, I can use these keys in this scale, and these will harmonically work with these. All my samples in all my sample banks are key labeled. I've put everything through mixed in key, so I can just search for something in D minor,
right,
and have 200 samples pop up in the Finder, and know that as I'm scrolling through all them, they're going to work with this track, which allows my workflow to work quite quickly, because I'm not just randomly reaching for samples and them thinking that doesn't work because it's the wrong key, or having to transpose it or pitch it up or down.
Yeah.
You know, it works or it doesn't, and I'm quite picky. If something doesn't work fairly instantly, I will bin it rather than spend a day trying to force it to work. So yeah, I don't know if that's the right or wrong way of doing it, but that's how
you do it.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
Do you know what is that? I think it's just all about the results.
I've managed to write a couple of sort of big piano tracks without any musical knowledge, so I'm quite, you know, it can work, I think.
Yeah, well, no, it definitely works. I don't think there's any right.
You kind of know when something doesn't sound right, so I just kind of go with my gut.
I see sort of producing electronic music as a kind of DIY thing where you know, just the same way as like the punk era is that. The Buzzcocks famously said it's like, you know, all their songs are based on 3 chords, and that's all they had to learn. They're incredibly catchy songs, incredibly famous bands.
A lot of the biggest bands in the 60s and 70s are based on 3 or 4 chords. In fact, most of the number 1 records ever are all based around the same chords. Yeah.
Guessing simplicity is...
less is more by the sound of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
No worries. Hope it didn't bore people too much.
No, you had to.
There's not much there to bore.
I think a lot of people produce, and it's always like the grass is greener. Whenever I'm making music, I always listen to other people's music and think, but they have all this set up, and they have this, and they have that. And
I have got friends that always have to have the latest this, the latest that, the latest that, but they never quite get there with the track, and I'm like, if you can kind of, not that I haven't mastered what I've got, but if you can master what you've got, you can get the best result out of that.
That's it.
You don't necessarily need a different synth to make the same sound.
That's it. So, I totally agree. I think,
it's great if it inspires you to make something. You know, that's cool because it gives you that sort of kick up the bum to, right, I want to try this.
It's just listening to other people's music. You always have a vision in your head.
Yeah.
That they will have like banks and banks and banks of plugins to create this amazing sound. And the truth of the matter is they probably don't.
Yeah.
You know, but it's that they just mastered. They just mastered getting that sound thick and the way that it, you know, way it jumps out the speaker. You know, which is. It's a different art. You know?
Sometimes though, that might not even necessarily be down to them. They might have a great mixing and mastering engineer that gives that dynamic to their track.
Yeah, you know, definitely having a good mastering engineer is important, definitely.
Yeah. But obviously the mixdown's got to be spot on before he gets to it. Or in some cases in this industry, it might just be that they use a good engineer that writes the track for them. But I don't know if you want to go down that conversation road.
Do you know it's like it's an awkward road to go down because then you can look at partnerships and go, well, one's an engineer and one's the ideas man, and they just do not deliver individually.
Yeah.
that they kind of thrive off each other. So it's that's a bit of a minefield. I was talking to someone else that I won't say, in fact, because he would kill me, but he's ghostwriting for another sort of famous DJ, and the music that he's produced isn't kind of the music that he would normally produce.
Yeah.
But because it's not normally the music he would produce, he just listens to the genre and it has no sort of filter when it comes to like, well, I can't use that, I can't use that. He'll just go, well, everyone else is using that, that's the sound I should use, because this epitomises the sound, like, you know, it's electro house, you know. But so, and then every time he's doing it, they're getting really good chart positions and the tracks are going really well, and he's actually had more success
He's not got that limited sort of blinker of
that stops him from going, well, I can't use that because these last 10 tracks are all in the top 10 you've used it, so I shouldn't. He's like, well, this is what I need to put in a track to make it a top 10, and it's working. So it's a funny situation, you know, with the ghost writing, because people come up with some really good material, or material that's very popular in a genre, because they don't have the creative restrictions of writing for themselves, thinking, well, I can't do that because I want to be different, right? And then,
but then again, it's like you're saying, it's a tricky sort of topic to cover. But then you've got the artist themselves that's got their name on it going in, because they've had a big hit, suddenly they're getting 5-10 grand a DJ set off the back of that track that someone else has made.
That's right, my son crying outside the door.
He's locked him out. Yeah, you know, then they're riding off the back of that, and well, yeah,
that's my son screaming outside the door.
Yeah, he doesn't like this topic. Move on.
I hope his mum's out there. No. I can hear her. With regards to the ghostwriting, that's capitalism, basically.
Yeah, it is.
You buy a commodity.
It's not any different to pop industry or mainstream. You know, you're putting a face on a product.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, how many pop artists actually write their own music? Don't get me wrong. I know that some people do.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not shooting it down. And I would never shoot down pop because it has its place.
Yeah, it's pop for a
music
reason. So yeah,
but I'm quite proud. Like, here's a good example. I'm quite proud of my daughter. She's 15 years old, and she kind of likes hardcore and some punk bands, and sort of new metal-y sort of bands.
Yeah.
And what I kind of respect about her taste is because she's learning how to play the guitar. She recognises that the people that she's following actually write the music, because she goes to see them play and they're all live bands.
Yep.
And that's a far cry from a lot of EDM artists. I would be more upset if she was I'd be more upset if she was into David Guetta or Avicii, or I use them as examples, you know, maybe
the more obvious sort of go-to names.
Yeah, the big names within the genre, Bob Sinclair or whatever. You know, but I would be like, well, you know, do you know much about the sound? Whereas with the punk bands
it's quite honest into music, and it's quite raw.
And she shows me like YouTube clips of them at rehearsals and learning songs and running through songs, and it's like it's very real.
Yeah.
I think with the electronic scene, we don't really know how real it is or
I think
fake,
it's because it's become. You know, obviously it's gone through phases and it's been big and it's come down again. But, you know, it's in that big capitalist boom again, where it's big money for, you know, big businesses. It's controlled by them, understandably, because that's where their interests lie. They want to make as much money out of it as possible. So we're ultimately, you know, in general, the end consumer of a factory product.
That's right.
And, you know, and the likes of us are trying to compete with those big brands on the shelves of that EDM supermarket, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Beatport.
And what shelves do we go on? You know, like again, like we touched on before with genres. You know, what box do you sit in, and are you even going to get seen there?
Where do you actually see yourself in the marketplace?
I do struggle with it. I'm a house DJ and producer in a general way,
right?
Because because sometimes I'm more techie, sometimes I'm more, I don't know, more accessible maybe. I don't really know. But it's most of my music's generally 4/4 based, so that's why I class it as house. But I couldn't really pigeonhole it because, something I make might be darker or more even borderline, sort of techno or tech house. But the flip side, I might make something a bit more upbeat and feel good. So I don't know, that might be my downfall. I sit on the fence somewhere maybe.
It's uncomfortable that the way that the genres work now.
Well, I don't like
it. Would be best if there was less. If there was less genres.
Yeah, it would.
So there would the segregation between deep house, tech house, techno is kind of.
I understand everything needs a place, and you need to be able to package a product to sell it, so people know what they're buying. But I just like good music, whatever I perceive good music to be, and I don't care what label it's got. I like a track or I don't like a track, whether that's a breaks track, a drum and bass track, some chill out or whatever, or a pop record. I don't think of it like that's a pop record. I can't like that because it's pop, or that's that's an indie band. I can't like them because they play guitars and I'm an electronic dance artist. If I'm even that, I don't know. I just like a good track, and as a DJ or as a producer, if I want to make a track and my gut's saying do this with it, I'm just following that. I'm not thinking what genre am I going to put that on Beatport when I sell it. I'm just thinking, piano line might work on that. I'll do that, and then it turns into that. Or the snare roll is going to really build that up and take it real dark, and like in the exact opposite direction. I'm just going with what feels right to me, and the same with when I'm DJing. If I like a record and I feel like it's going to work at that moment in time, I want to be able to play it rather than someone say, you dropped a breaks track in a house set.
Yeah.
And I've seen people get shot down for that, and I'm like, but it was going off.
Yeah. So there'll always be someone, like you said earlier, there'll always be someone in the room that is just not feeling.
And I understand, there's a right time, right place. You wouldn't do that in a warm-up set. You wouldn't, you can only do that at certain points certain points in time. But I feel like we're a bit forced into a corner sometimes, and that's not necessarily a good thing for things to evolve. Because back to kind of what you're saying with Sven Vath, if he hadn't dropped that track in that scenario when you wouldn't expect it, it might not have had the same effect. So it needs more people to be doing that. You need more people to take that chance or to say, right, well, I shouldn't necessarily be playing this, but it's going to work.
Or not be scared,
not be scared.
Do you reckon Sven Vath sits there and just thinks, I'm fucking Sven Vath, I'm going to play whatever the fuck I want?
He probably does.
I hope he does.
But that would make me
happy.
Of all the people, I think he's earned the right to be able to do that.
Exactly. So, and if he carries on doing stuff like that, which I'm sure he will, because that's obviously in his DNA as a DJ, I'm not being worried. Of not being...
Yeah, but then you got the flip side of that. You got Steve Aoki playing fucking Titanic. Sorry for swearing, but that's what makes you feel like. And he might... I don't know him, and I'm sure he's the same guy. He might be doing that purely for his own amusement, but you're in a position where you can really change the game if you want to. You don't have to do that. You could, if you want to be outlandish, drop something really classic or something really fucking mind blowing that's gonna give something to everyone. You got a stadium full of kids that only know the Beatport top 100 or probably top 10 because everyone's playing the same 10 records. But you've got a chance to blow their mind with something that might allow them to explore a whole different genre.
Well, yeah.
Why the fuck do you drop Celine Dion? Maybe once for a joke, cool, but he's been doing it all summer. All summer.
Yeah, I don't.
Anyway, like I said,
I don't have the same kind of respect for Steve Aoki as well.
No. I wanted to give you like a polar opposite example of
absolute polar opposite.
Like Sven Vath is at one complete end of the spectrum to Steve Aoki, and they're both they've got their places and respect for that. But because they've got those platforms at whatever level of coolness you are on, I feel like they've got a certain responsibility to at least try and push the envelope a bit in a good way.
Who have you? Can you think of any DJs that you've heard that kind of surprised you with what they draw? I've got a few I can mention, but I agree with you. And why not? Why not? You're in a position you can do something. Then why not? The only thing is that I think Steve Aoki's he is a polar opposite. But then in the same breath, I think everyone would agree that that. I don't want to badmouth the guy, but it's like he's built his career on stunts and tricks, and show entertainment opposed to.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that, he's got a niche in the market, and all due respect for doing that. He's spotted a gap that works for him in a commercial environment, and he's milking that very well. But he's got the potential with a great label and some serious money behind it to really change the game, if you want to really break a record, like a good record. Again, it might be so different from a techno record, but that could be something that takes it to another direction.
Do you know, have you heard of a DJ called DJ Food?
Yeah.
Part of Ninja Tune.
Yeah.
Runs Solid Steel, the show, the radio show. I played with him in Sweden, like a real bespoke festival. Yeah. And I watched him play, and like smack bang in the middle of his set, he played Jane's Addiction, being caught stealing.
Wow.
The fucking place went mental. Yeah. His timing was immaculate, though. It just went a dun, dun, and the place just, I was standing on like a balcony watching it here, and I was banging my head thinking, whoa, just nailed it. Absolute, pulled it out of the bag, And it's like when you see moments of genius like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've got the ability, and it's not every set, sometimes some sets so vastly different to the next one as far as environment. But when you've got that opportunity and you've got that crowd properly, and you can do that, and it works, it's memorable. You remember it? Yeah.
Well, I remember that. And we was talking on the flight on the way back, and I was like, that was fucking awesome. And he was like, yeah. I wanted to play it. I was just trying to find the right time, and it was just, and he nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. But walking out, you're putting your DJ bag together, whether it's whatever it is. And you put a track in like Jane's Addiction, being caught stealing, thinking, I'm going to play this tonight. Not sure how or when. I'm going to get this into my set. That takes some balls.
You've played Wicker Man.
Yeah,
right? I did.
That's where I met you.
It was. When was it? 3-4 years ago? Something like that? Yeah. This year, a friend of mine dared me to see if I could get Proclaimers 500 Miles in that set. So I put together a bit of a sort of mashup. I wasn't meant in any sort of, I didn't want to take the piss at all. I wanted it to be credibly done. So I put together like a little edit in a track, layered 3 or 4 bits in with some extra stuff. Just looped sort of, and I would walk, and then the track just sort of breaks at the end of the frame and goes 500 miles, and then kicks into this techno track. Mate, the place went bananas.
Oh yeah.
And no one would have expected to hear the Proclaimers. I wouldn't have done it in a piss-taking way. I wanted to do it, as mad as it sounds to anyone who's listening, probably thinking that must have sounded awful. For that moment at time, at 2-3 in the morning, with a tent full of people, Scottish people, and it only does it sort of twice in the record. Like, it's not, I haven't rinsed it for a record. It just teases in almost to the point where you're thinking, is this actually really what I think it is? And then it just says the word 500 miles and then back into the groove. The second time around, literally the whole place went bananas, because it was like one of those moments where, did that just happen? No, surely not.
I think you need to jump on that one. It actually does sound like a good one.
I'll send it. It might be something I give away at some point, but to anyone listening, it's not quite as random as it sounds. It works at that moment in time.
Fantastic. So if anyone does want to pick up some music from you, where's the best place to?
Everything's at sonnywharton.com. The usual sort of links through to your Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, but it's actually works as a standalone site. The news is on there, gigs are on there, everything's kind of embedded within it as well. So yeah, sonnywharton.com.
Sonnywharton.com. Yep. So I know that we had a little chat about this earlier, and I hate to say that, it's just it's difficult because we had a chance to chat before we went on air. So what have you seen lately, or what you dig in music wise? And I don't mean DJs or DJs or whatever it may be. You know, what's been floating your boat?
Yeah, I still haven't thought of a good answer for it. Yeah, I'll have to come back to that. I can't think of it, so you might have to edit back on that.
Well, like, I mean, if you've been at any festivals and you stumbled across anyone, you went, that's all right.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I literally, you can use this anyway if you want. I just can't think, because this summer's been just really hectic to the point that I've had like a good sort of maybe 8 or 10 of those sort of moments. That right now on the spot is just blurred.
Where have you been playing lately?
I did Glastonbury for the first time this year.
Oh, wicked! Did you play at the Dance Village or?
No, it was near the Beat Hotel actually, so it was kind of on the other side. But I'd never been to Glastonbury other than when I was 6 months old, and obviously I don't remember that. So it's somewhere I always wanted to go. So it did live up to what I thought. It is massive, and it did blow my mind. Just some of the stuff you see, it was great.
It is.
Hats off to them.
It's so expensive though.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine having to sort of do it on that end.
A lot of money.
But then they do put a lot on for that money. So
yeah. You know, I mean, you can spend 3 weeks and still not see it. And see everything at Glastonbury is immense. Yeah. You played any other festivals? I know you played.
Yeah, I've done a few. I obviously mentioned the Shanghai one before, and Wicker Man. I did. Mate, it was awesome actually. It was the first time out there. There's a city called Ostrava in Czech Republic. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's a festival called Beats for Love.
Right. And
I think it's only maybe their 4th or 5th year, something like that. But it's set in like this old industrial Eastern Bloc sort of disused factory, and the whole festival, there's like 10 or 11 stages set within that. It's kind of like Mad Max sort of Thunderdome in an Eastern Bloc sort of way. It's amazing.
And what's the name of the festival?
Beats for Love.
Beats for Love.
They have. I think it's predominantly, like the main stage is like drum and bass, and then they've got a house stage, a techno stage.
Right.
Mate, it was awesome. Absolutely blew my mind. So yeah, really enjoyed that.
Look out for that. Have you ever been to a Fusion festival in Germany?
No. Where's that?
It's out in the countryside. It's fucking huge, like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And the same. It's about, I don't know how many stages. It's an old disused, I think it's a Russian airfield.
Yeah.
So it's got all these bunkers.
Right.
But the bunkers are like, they're like a garage for airplanes.
Yeah.
So they're fucking huge.
Yeah.
And each of those, there must be...
So like underground hangars.
Yeah, underground hangars. But so it starts on like sort of normal kind of walking around level, and then it goes underground to the point where you can park an aeroplane underground and it can't be seen.
What?
Huge. And I think there's 11 or 12 of those hangars.
Mate, that sounds amazing.
It's a really good festival. For some reason, I don't know why I would have thought this would have been the kind of festival you would have been playing at.
I'd like to, by the sound of that.
Yeah, check it out. It's called the Fusion Festival. Cool. I played a few years back on the Tracer stage.
Yeah.
And it was immense.
Yeah,
immense. Highly recommended. I'm sure anyone from Germany who's listening thinking, I know what you're talking about. but a lot of art and stuff there. It was quite interesting.
The venue sounds amazing. It just sounds really unique.
It's very unique. I think it's been going for a while now. I think he's a bit of an institution out there. Sort of like...
Understandably, though, by the sound of it.
Yeah, like Boomtown here. It's a big-ass festival, that's quite established now.
Yeah.
Anywhere else? The European festivals, they're interesting places to go.
Yeah.
I know that, like, if you're American, you're listening, and we're both English, thinking, well, you're European. But, we're kind of on an island, so when
we're on an island,
when you say European,
as well.
yeah, right, yeah.
So our festivals are generally quite muddy and raucous.
So, when we talk about Europe, I think we mean mainland Europe.
Yeah.
So don't think that we're trying to distance ourselves from Europe. We're just it's just the way that we refer to
Getting
it.
into politics.
Yeah, Jesus.
Step away.
Is there anything else in Europe that you've come across that's interesting?
Been
a Kazan tip?
No, I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah, I think
Always wanted to go
it's a
there.
bit up in the air at the moment.
Oh, is
There's
it?
civil bloody war going
Yeah,
on.
well, yeah, quite understandably, but it just look. I've only ever seen like footage from it, and it just looks.
Yeah, it's pretty
awesome.
amazing.
So, have you
It's
played
huge.
that? Then?
Yeah, I played about 4 years ago. Played the main stage with Stanton's,
Oh, wow.
Hybrids. I can't remember who else. But yeah, we played the main
That's good.
stage. Yeah, it was awesome. It was huge, massive. And it's right on the beach.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
a winning
It's
formula. really,
right
isn't
on
it?
the beach. I mean,
So-
like the beach is like you can walk off the stage area right into the sea.
Wow.
It's there, it's
Right.
right there, and they have a lot of stages. And I think as one shuts down, another one's allowed to start up. And I think there's this rotation thing going on, so it's
Yeah.
always moving and stuff's moving up, moving down. I filmed Marco Bailey playing there.
How was
and,
that?
yeah, fucking
He
kicked the
smashes it.
He kicked the shit out of it.
Yeah,
It
I
was
bet,
so
I bet.
good.
I bet. Good DJ.
Yeah, awesome DJ. He's one of my favourites.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah. Kazantip, another one.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I think the most random one I've done was probably Sri Lanka this year.
Oh,
actually,
really?
And that was on the beach. That was the first time over there. I was at Colombo.
Well, yeah,
so-
I don't know any DJ that's played in Sri Lanka.
I mean, it was really good, but very surreal. In fact, it was that surreal that like after the gig and obviously hotel back to the airport run the next morning, my taxi driver was like, "Oh, we've got a bit of time. Do you want? There's this. I don't know if he was on the take or whatever, but it was a really sort of dodgy situation. Typical, someone you don't know, but that's the cab driver. Oh, do you want to come and see this like diamond mine thing? And I'm thinking, this is a bit weird. I'm like, is it on the way to the airport? Thinking, it's like an international flight. You want to play it fairly safe because it's a long flight to miss. No, yeah, it's on the way. Definitely wasn't on the way. And he took me into this really awkward sort of 2 up, 2 down kind of building with in the bottom. It shows you. I don't know why I'm going off on this tip, but anyway,
No, I want to.
it shows you this sort of random mine of how they mined the rocks and sort of examples of the type of tools and stuff. And like that's what he'd sold it to me on. I'll come and see a bit of history about where they got all these the gemstones and stuff from. Okay, yeah, cool, no worries. But the whole ploy was he basically literally just walked me through that in about 10 seconds to get me up to the top floor, which was then like a sort of back alley jewellers full of all these gemstones.
No.
But obviously, I don't know if they're real or not. And then they're like, we do a good price on this too. And I'm thinking, well, I don't really want to buy it. I've just kind of humoured you because you seem quite keen to show me a bit of history on the way to the airport. And yeah, literally was in there for about 45 minutes and they were not having it that I wasn't buying anything. And they were like, no, we do a good price. I'm like, I'm not interested. Okay, we'll do it for less. Managed to get out there alive and to the airport, but yeah,
The
just
bartering system.
really random, really.
What was the show like?
The show was really good.
Yeah.
I was actually on with a lot of EDM artists.
Right.
And
else
kind
was-
of
who was playing?
Arno Cost.
He's big now, though.
Yeah, he is. But very EDM. Tanisha, who's kind of trance, and a few other guys as well. But I was kind of sandwiched in the middle, so which I'm finding quite a lot of shows, especially in Asia and stuff. I'm often on the bill with
In
quite
amongst.
main room progressive house sort of EDM sounds, and they're playing heavy big room tracks, and I'll have to follow that and kind of bridge that between someone who's going to be playing the same stuff as the guy on before me again afterwards, and it's always a strange kind of scenario to play because you're spending the whole sort of hour leading up to it going, I haven't got anything this heavy, or like I haven't got a kick drum that distorted to start with. It's the same touch word I seem to pull it off each time, but it always makes it that much harder to kind of follow because you kind of have to go in guns blazing from the off before being able to kind of go where you want to go for a bit and then build back up to whoever's following you. Because I've always come kind of from that almost a resident kind of mentality of
It's your part of the night.
I always think about who's on before and who's on after me, and that's really important to me whenever I'm taking a gig or.
Well, you're thinking about the audience.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm there hopefully to make people dance, and if you can take them somewhere along that journey, brilliant. But ultimately, people want to have a party and a good time. So I'd never want to lose the vibe in that respect. So, I might not have something of exactly the same genre or the same music, but I'll always try and keep the same energy going, or at least take it in my own direction, but on that kind of level. So if someone's playing tearing 128, 129 EDM, I've got to come out the back of that somehow, but not lose the attention.
Yeah.
I'd definitely not drop the energy, and not until I want to drop the energy to then pick it up again. Should that be the right scenario to do? So it's quite a tricky situation to be in sometimes. But anyway, back to, I go off on tangents. Back to what you asked. It actually turned out a really good gig, and I wasn't playing any EDM.
Right. Okay.
I was doing my own thing, but it seemed to really work. Yeah.
Sri Lanka, huh?
Mate, great scene.
Been to India, not been to Sri Lanka. Well,
yeah, I've not been to India, but I've been to Sri Lanka. That's close as I got. So
I played Ministry of Sound in New Delhi.
what was that like?
It got raided while I was playing.
Right.
But yeah, and then they decided that they could let everyone stay in the club, but they weren't allowed any music.
I bet that went down well.
Well, I'd flown a long way to play. It was a bit, so I just sat at a bar with the owner having a fish curry.
You got paid to have a
it was
curry
irrelevant
in New Delhi.
Yeah. And that was just a quite kind of interesting scenario. But for the 40 minutes I did play, it was really good.
Well, ironically, I've played the longest I think I've travelled was 27 hours to get to Macau, off Hong Kong and China.
Yeah, I know. I got booked for there today.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Right.
Yeah.
And I played for 45 minutes and then was there for about 3 or 4 hours and then flew back again for another 27 hours.
You said this earlier, you don't like staying too long. Or is that just...
I don't mind it. I don't know. I'm not very good at sitting still, as in, like not doing anything. So and when you're on your own as a DJ, you'll know, sitting in a hotel room, you might have amazing pool or gym or, big shopping centres, but they're all very similar from country to country to a degree. And, I don't want to sit and twiddle my thumbs for 3 days in another country on my own.
Especially when you can't share that experience with someone. Yeah,
exactly. So I'll often fly in and then fly straight out again, purely because then I can get a full week in the studio or, doing label stuff or whatever in between the next lot of shows, rather than twiddling my thumbs for 2 days, a bit dazed and confused on your own, thinking, well, yeah, it's nice and the sun's out, but, no one's here to see it.
It depends where I'm going. It really depends on the country. I like America in particular, is like, because I've got friends and stuff there, but
it's definitely different when you've maybe been there a couple of times and you've got friends and you've got a bit of a network of people there, because then it's great to go and see people, catch up.
It's a bit easier on westernised countries as well. Asia's a bit of a funny one because it's not like you can just wander down the street, find a cafe, sit down, chill out and read the paper. Yeah. Whereas in America, it's irrelevant if you're not with anyone. You can just do that. Okay, I'm going to have a little wander down the beach. You can do that anywhere, I know. But in a Western, it's not that you're going to get lost. Yeah. It's not that you can't communicate, or, it's a little bit easier, I find. Like Australia, and same with America. Yeah. It's even when you're on your own, it's just a little bit easier.
Maybe not as intimidating, because it's more
it is intimidating.
Familiar. So
Russia's one where you kind of go, it's easy to get, just feel that you're out your depth a little bit with the language barrier. Yeah. Well, that's how I feel.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've been on random little wanders down streets in all of these countries, just because you feel like you should have a little look around. But I've played in a few years back now, but it was in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And the hotel I was staying in was in a brand new complex, but it was in a really dodgy end of town. And I got picked up by the driver and then put in this hotel. And because of the flights and it was a landed deal, I was there for 3 days. I didn't see or speak to anyone for the entire time. I was told not to leave the complex. It wasn't safe. I literally just had to sit in a hotel room on my own until I got picked up the night of the gig. Then did the gig, which was great. And then was flying home the next day.
Well, promoters, they're not looking after you.
Probably out having fun, but I wasn't invited. So,
I've spent a lot of time in hotel rooms. Yeah.
Do you find yourself getting picky in hotel rooms though? Because you get used to certain things being certain ways, and like if something doesn't quite, this sounds real.
No, sorry, you say it. Like, you know,
but you know, like you sometimes you've got like a tight window. You've just arrived. You've got time for a shower and to grab room service or something. That's your only meal for fucking 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
And you order it and it doesn't come, or it does come and it's rubbish. and that's your only meal for the entire time until you've done the gig, and then you can maybe relax before you catch a flight back. And that I start finding that I get really frustrated.
Yeah, I think certain countries do hotels better than others.
There's definitely a difference.
I stayed in a...
It sounds real snobby. I don't mean to sound like that. So
do you know what? It's not snobby. And it's not snobby when you're there and you're sitting there going, why doesn't this window open? You know?
Yeah.
Or can they turn the heating off because it's too hot? Or
I probably would sound really stupid. The biggest fail I always have in a hotel room is working out where the bloody light switches are. Like most times it's fairly obvious, but occasionally you'll get like a real arty hotel and genuinely you just like, I just need to turn the lights off so I can go to sleep, but I cannot find the light switch for this light. And that's, I'm clearly quite blonde.
I always find Australia has a higher standard of hotels. I've always felt that, and that's lovely, you know. So as soon as I'm booked, I go, it's going to be good. Your expectation, even of
maybe once you've been spoiled a couple of times, it makes the other one seem a bit worse. I don't know.
Yeah. I have dealt with flights.
Yeah,
it's like it's kind of you walk in through business class, and you kind of as you walk down the plane into a car, the seats get smaller and smaller.
I see
until they reach like children's baby seats at the end.
99% of the time in economy.
Yeah, me too.
So,
yeah. That's what I mean. Is that as you walk through, your heart sort of just sinks.
Yeah, it's soul destroying.
It just gets smaller and
sit
smaller
down and
and smaller.
the seat in front of you is directly in front of your nose. You can't even open your laptop.
Yes, yeah. It's ironic that we're nitpicking about something that like you know was once my dream.
That's the thing. Like that's the reality check though, and I like for every little moan I have about it, say right now, or you know when you haven't slept for 2 days and you're in an hour-long taxi ride back to the airport and you're thinking I've got a 12-hour flight, or what am I even doing in my life? You then have that little pinch me moment where you're like, I feel so lucky to even be able to sit here and have a moan about it. I've got, I shouldn't be moaning about it. This is a unique, amazing situation, and if I never got to do this, I'd be really unhappy. So it hurts, and I'm really tired, or I haven't got any food, or I've not had any sleep. But we're lucky enough to be sat in a cab, tired, having not eaten, having just played at some random country across the other side of the world to a load of people that come to see you. So that more than makes up for it. So, for
all the moans and groans and mumbles.
I think we just happen this standard with men as we get older. We just start moaning more.
Oh yeah, completely. But do you know what? I think we're going to end on that high note because because it is. You're absolutely right. It's like for everything that we've sort of said throughout this podcast about the shitty things. And I hope we've touched on some nicer things, but you're right. We should feel lucky that we should feel lucky right now that people are actually listening to us moan.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like how amazing is it to be in a situation where we get to just have a chat over a table, and then that goes out online and someone even presses play. So So thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
And Sonny, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you coming down. It's been good. It's been nice to spend the day with you as well. It's been wicked.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thanks for the Kit Kat.
All right. You can fake Nadia. I just have to bring this up, is that when she cooked for Ben Coda, she gave him food poisoning. And then he was so polite. He goes, "No, I think I just drank too much." I was like, well, I was sick as well.
You're going to get in trouble for that.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, dude.
Before we finish, it's kind of customary to get some shouts. This is Sonny Wharton. You're listening to Meet Katie on blah 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 blah, lowering the tone, and look, spin it however you want.
No worries. Hey, this is Sonny Wharton, and you're listening to Lowering the Tone with Meet Katie.
Try another.
Is that smashy and nicey enough for you?
Yeah, go on. What's your best radio voice?
No, I think that's your one, because I know you'll use the radio one. You'll use the worst one. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, just going to get one more, just in case there's any...
Yeah, cool. Hey, this is Sonny Wharton, and you're listening to Lowering the Tone with Meet Katie.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Right, there you have it. Episode 10 done. I know I've said this before, but doing these podcasts is a real pleasure. So thank you for your support, your kind words. I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but if you do want to help, you do want to get involved, please just spread the word. Share the links, retweet, make a comment, do anything you can just to make people aware about it. It's really difficult out there. So I notice it when you help. You can make a massive difference by just hitting a button. Until next time, take care.
Another child is born. Another race is won. Another dream is shattered. Another day's begun.
better mic level. Hello. What's that? What's that? What's that?
Ben.
Ben? Who's Ben?